Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Cyclops Mailboxes. Now, this is something that I started because I'm getting so many comments on my channel, and so many of them require more than just a yes or no answer. So this is a way for me to answer you guys' questions, and hopefully you'll enjoy the answers, or at least enjoy the video. And before I get going, congratulations to Rebecca T that won the Blackhound 1-4. That was the subject of the giveaway this past week to kind of launch this series. And thanks to all the guys that left comments. All right, enough screwing around. Let's get to it.
Hit it.
All right, and one of the first comments was from D. Hendricks, and D told me, why don't you just take your show on the road where you got faster Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi here sucks ass, so I can't do live streaming, so this is about the best I can do. D, seriously, I don't know a lot of guys that's going to invite a one-eyed white boy into a bar, I'm thinking bar, to sit around and drink and talk loud into a camera. I can't think that that would bring in more patrons, so I'm just going to do this at the house. Plus, I can just upload when I get a chance. Which LPVOs do you like? My three favorites. The budget is the Blackhound 1-8 34mm, under $500. I think it's killer. The Delta 1-6 for sure, and also the Burris RT6 combo, because for about $600 you get a red dot, you get a mount, and you get a really good LPVO. The really expensive LPVOs are something I don't deal with a whole lot, because when it's that low powered, the glass quality is already going to look pretty good, and the world-class glass quality is going to kind of be lost on me in those magnification ranges. All right, now one of the guys asked me, why don't you do a video with Mike Riley from ARKEN? Already did a video with Mike Benedict. You'll see the link below. But there's really not a lot that right now I think Mike can add. And don't get me wrong, he's a great dude, and I am looking forward to doing a video with him. But ARKEN is really behind right now. As a matter of fact, on the screen right now, you're going to see their projected shipping dates. They're trying to email guys and keep them updated. Now, guys, I don't work for ARKEN. I'm simply an affiliate for them. But this is the one and only company I have an affiliate program with, so I feel a little more obligated to update you guys than I would with any other company. And all the scope companies right now are behind. It's just the way it is right now. All right, here's a good one. Ankos wanted to know, what's a scope that I had high expectations for, but came up pretty short? For me, it was one of the new Steiners. I got one of these in. It didn't track very well. The glass was good for its price range, but it just didn't blow me away. Now, there's a lot of budget scopes that'll disappoint you if you have your sight set too high. But when you're talking about something for $1,800, it should really, really perform. And the Steiners that I've seen lately, they're just not quite up to par with some of the other scopes in that price range. All right, now Sex Panther said that his comment is that he gets to laughing at my videos so hard that it makes his balls hurt. I like that shit. All right, I got another one from Yoda, and it was about, instead of answering all the questions online and the comments in the videos, why don't I email everybody back? It's still the same problem for me. I'm overloaded with a lot of questions, and I have arthritis in my thumbs. So texting or typing, it gets old, especially when you get several hundred comments a day. Now, I love the fact you guys leave comments, and I do try to reply to them when I can, but this way right here, this will give me a lot of help on the comments that take more than a word or two to reply to. All right, how'd I get into shooting air rifles? Honestly, I got into it because I wasn't enjoying going to the local range anymore, because there were so many guys out there with the little 16-inch ARs, and I know they're fun, but they're loud as hell. And guys are out there burning through ammo so fast, you can't sit down and shoot, and they want to go downrange and pull targets all the time, and I just got frustrated with it. So the only way for me to enjoy the shooting sports in my backyard, other than archery, was to get into air rifles, and that's kind of how I got into it, and I really, really enjoy the air guns. Okay, David said, lesser YouTubers get distracted on live feeds. I think you'll do better than that. David, if seriously, if this was a live feed, man, it doesn't take anything. A butterfly flies by and it gets my damn attention. But this is a way I think I can cut out a lot of the pork in it and just get straight to what I want to tell you guys and straight to the question you guys are asking. David asked, what scope rings do you avoid? Basically, any of the super cheap scope rings are going to let you down. They're going to scar your scope. They're not going to hold very well. They look like shit. The little screws in them are going to rust up and seize, and you get what you pay for. The scope rings I really like on the budget end are like the burst signature rings, and then I really like some of the higher end scope rings if they fit into your budget. If they don't, it doesn't make sense. I totally understand. But a lot of the Vortex, Redfield, Leupold, some of these scope rings, they'll go right there with the burst and they'll do everything you'll need to do. They're not as fancy as some of the really premium scope rings, but they'll do anything you need to. All right, Chris asks, what do I use to clean my scopes? I use Zeiss lens cleaner and nothing else. That's it. That and a clean piece of cotton cloth. I don't use paper because it can scratch it, and I don't want to use anything that can take the coatings off the lenses. And if you use Windex or some of those, it can take some of the coatings off the external lenses on your scope, and you don't want that to happen. All right, Kevin asked a good one. How long do I think the ammo shortage will go on? I know this one, as long as guys are hoarding. And it's not the guys that are casually shooting, it's the hoarders. It's just the way it is. I can go to the gun shop right now. I was in there a couple of weeks ago, and a guy that I casually know went in there and bought about 5 boxes of 257 Roberts. And I said, wow, I didn't know you had a 257 Roberts. He said, I don't, but I'm just buying every bit of ammo I can lay my hands on. That kind of thinking right there is a lot like the toilet paper thinking during the first part of the coronavirus. We are causing the shortage by hoarding. If you don't need the ammo, leave it on the shelf. Somebody else will get it. There's no need just stacking all this stuff at home and never going out and enjoying it. To my way of thinking, this is selfish. Now, if you're a hoarder, there's no change in your mind. This is who you are. But if you're not, leave a little ammo on the shelf, man. Let somebody else enjoy some of it. All right, Joel asked me, is there any thoughts on the new higher magnification ATHLON scopes? The only thought I got on them is I'm really looking forward to trying them. But ATHLON right now is like everybody else. They're basically out of scopes. And until they get caught up, I won't have those scopes to be able to review them. All right, here's one I get asked a lot. What mounts do I recommend for springers? I use a one-piece UTG Picatinny rail, and I use Weaver rings on it. And the Picatinny rails that I use, I make sure they have drop pins. And I want something that's going to cinch up like crazy, because scopes on springers that just have two-piece mounts, they're going to move around. There's no way around it. All right, B. Jones asked, all the springers out there now, almost all of them are completely devoid of sights. Do I know why? I know this one. It's because guys aren't using them. There's not many guys out there anymore that use open sights. They immediately put a scope on a rifle. So for the manufacturers, that's just one more thing they have to include in a rifle. It costs them money, and guys aren't using them. That's the reason they're not putting them on there anymore. All right, another one I get asked a lot is, where am I filming? I'm actually filming at a rest stop very close to my house, and it's just beautiful here. As a matter of fact, as you'll look right here, you can see the outside wall of what used to be an amphitheater. And my dad told me, and I got no reason to doubt him, that when he was a kid, Elvis actually played there. It's just a beautiful mountain scenery. As a matter of fact, here in the distance, you can see 35 miles away. Here in East Texas, normally we can't see but a couple of 100 yards, but this is on top of a mountain. It's real relaxing. It's just a place I love to go film at. And plus, Bella digs it. All right, Joseph asks, how can I fix a loose reticle? There's really no way to do it, man. If your reticle's coming loose, you're going to have to send the scope back. All right, I got a good question about the SWFA fixed 10 powers. They have a regular classic that's $300. Then they have an HD version that's over twice as much. And the question is, do I think it's worth the increase? If it's in your budget and it's something that's one of your primary guns, then yeah, glass is better. It's not really close. As a matter of fact, there's no one part on that HD version that's the same in the regular version. It's a totally different scope, and it is an upgrade from the regular one. It just depends on whether or not it's in your budget. That's all. All right, what brand of scope is my favorite? For me, it's the VALDADA's. That's what I have on my AR. That's what I have on my 223 that I shoot all the time. Now, there's a ton of other scopes that I really like. But when you get used to using the true tier 1 type scopes, it's hard to go back. It's a lot like getting used to a 70-inch TV than going back to a 34 or 36. You're gonna feel like you're missing something, and that's the way I am using the premium type scopes. Now, believe me, I know how much they can stretch your budget, but if you have the money, they are worth it. All right, Shane asked me, the Vector optics, are they just for air guns or regular guns? The only thing different about the air gun scopes is they're made to take the recoil in both directions that Springer air guns do, and usually they focus down shorter. Now here's a little sidebar tip to all you air gunners that require a 10-yard minimum focus, but you're not actually using that. If you'll come up to like 25 yards, which is closer than anywhere I shoot any of mine, you'll get a bigger field of view and it'll open up a lot of possibilities that you're not getting with a 10-yard minimum focus. Now I know there's a lot of shooting disciplines, guys shoot inside, field target and all that, I understand that. But if you're just a casual air gunner, don't jump on board, I gotta have 10 yards if you're gonna be shooting 30 and 40 and 50 yards in your backyard. If you'll move up to 25, you can get a bigger field of view and it'll open up a lot of different optics that you basically are cutting yourself off of by demanding 10 yards when you may not need it. Now Matthew wants to know if I could do a review of one of the new MEOPTA 6s. I want to bad, really bad, but MEOPTA's out of scopes too. Now the MEOPTAs are incredible freaking scopes, and every one I've ever seen I was very, very impressed with, but I haven't got a chance to test the new one yet. Now Bruno asks, why do some scope makers put MOA turrets and a mil reticle or vice versa? This happens more than guys realize, and honestly, I don't have a good answer. I really don't, man. Usually it seems like it happens on second focal plane stuff and sometimes on fixed powers. Why they do it, I don't know. If it's excess inventory laying around and they just pieced it together, I don't have a clue, but it's not very well thought out. All right, Randy asked if I had one gun and it was an AR-15, what optic would I put on top of it? That's easy. If my budget would allow it, it would be the EOTech Voodoo. If I didn't have it in my budget, it would probably either be the Delta or the Blackhound. All right, now I got one from Chuck and it says, ATHLON scopes are the best bang for the buck. Why don't I review them? I get this a lot. Guys will ask me, why don't you do this scope? Why won't you review this scope? And at least half the time, it's a scope that I've already reviewed. You just have to click on the homepage, look at my videos, scroll down, and you will see them. I've got almost 300 different videos, and at least 200, I'd say, to 225 are pure scope reviews. Tony asked how I got started on YouTube and what I did before I started doing this. Actually, I worked 35 years at Train Refrigeration. We made the outside condensing unit. The last few years, I worked in quality control. I started on YouTube doing these AIRGUN rebuild videos for guys overseas that use this same type of gun. And honestly, I started because I was getting so many emails, I couldn't keep up. So a buddy of mine, Brian at EdGun West, advised me, hey man, just take your iPad, film how you take it apart, how you rebuild it, and then just put it on YouTube and send the guys the links. And I did that for a while, and then I would get all these requests for the links. So finally I just made the videos public. And when I did, guys would ask me, how'd you do that stock finish? How'd you do this? And I started making videos, and it just turned into a hell of a lot of fun. It's a great hobby, and I really, really enjoy doing this. Sorry, beer break. If you got one, drink it. All right, Michael asked what camera do I use. My camera's a Canon SL2. It's kind of a slightly outdated DSLR. I'm hoping to upgrade in the coming months, but this one right here, it does, I think, a pretty good job. It does 1080p, it doesn't do 4K, but I really enjoy messing with the camera, and I was a little slow to start using DSLRs, so it took me a little while to get caught up. And if you're really interested in all my gear, in the next few weeks I'm gonna have a video about the camera that I use, the lenses, the microphones that I use, and show the guys a little more up close of the fixture that I use when I film through the scopes and how I film through the scopes. And I think to some of the guys it'll be interesting, not everybody, but I think some of the guys will really be interested in it. All right, guys, that's it for this edition of it. Now, if you enjoyed this video, and I'm hoping that you did, leave comments below for next week's video, and I'll get back to you and try to answer as many of the questions as I can. I don't want to just drone on forever and make these videos as long as I possibly can, because let's face it, most people aren't going to sit around and listen to something past a certain point, me included. I've got the attention span of a freaking coked out spider monkey. So I'm only gonna be able to stick in there so long. But I do hope these videos, that some of you guys can find some value in them, and I hope it does answer some of the questions that I'm not able to get to in the comments, because the answer is not a yes or no or just a heart, I appreciate it, which I do try to put up the little heart things to let you guys know how much I appreciate the positive feedback that you send me and all of the comments that you do leaving my videos because it does help me with YouTube and makes my videos rank higher and higher. Thanks, guys. See you next week.